It's raining threes, and Red can't look. We will jump into this show as Semling finds the back of the net for the game winner. That and more, Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. We've got a lot to go through tonight.
A very, very full show and a lot of excitement as we get ready for some playoffs. We're going to start, though, with the boys hockey team. They have a couple of weeks left. They started last week, hoping to get on a winning streak. Coming off their most dominant win of the season, they welcomed a team in a nearly identical position. SLPCR and Elk River Zimmerman were both a few games below 500 and desperate to gain ground in the Northwest Suburban. Home team starts the scoring. Caden Succo with speed to the corner. He'll find Brody Herzog at the top of the crease for a redirect. SLPCR on the board first. And they didn't have to wait long to celebrate again. Check out the hands on Drew Lindquist. He turns the defender inside out, then finds the 5-hole on the keeper. 2 goals in less than 30 seconds. Unfortunately, the Elks took over after that. They scored 1 in the first and then dominated the second period. This power play goal by Luke Petra gave them the lead 3-2. And they weren't done. They had 5 unanswered goals, including all 4 tallies in the second period. This one by Owen Westberg is one Lewis probably would like back, but it was 5-2 Elk River after 2. SLPCR starts to come back right away in the third. Good movement to find Caden Richter in the slot. He scores less than 90 seconds into the final frame. It stays that way until the final minutes. Off an offensive face-off win, Andrew Clark going to wrap it around and force it home. It's a 1-goal game. Almost exactly 1 minute later, SLPCR buzzing in the zone again. Just a great pass across. Finds Caden Alphin with a wide open net. He scores his 10th of the season, sends the game to overtime. In the extra period, Elk River with a face-off win. Joey Kotzian's shot from the point finds the back of the net. Elk River Zimmerman hands SLPCR another tough overtime loss.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for them. I mean, that would have been a nice win if they could have beaten the Elks, and unfortunately, they do take them to overtime, but can't get the win.
Yeah, and it was a nice comeback, but you'd like to avoid giving up 4 unanswered through that second period. But tough to lose a game, though, against a team that you're battling for position with in the conference. The SLPCR boys did bounce back with a dominant victory over Anoka, 8-1 in that one. Drew Lindquist in on 7 of the 8 SLPCR goals, 3 goals for assists. Teddy Walkman had 1 goal and 4 helpers. 2-2 for Caden Alphin, 1-1 for Jackson Engberg, and Brody Herzog also lit the lamp. They are at Mounds View tonight. On Tuesday night, they are at Centennial on Thursday. So a couple more conference games on the road. The girls hockey team wrapped up the regular season last week. Their first contest was against the highly ranked Andover Huskies, who always play top quality hockey this time of year. They beat CPCR 4-2. CPCR had 1-0 and 2-1 leads before finally losing to the Huskies by the 4-2 score. June Semling scored both for CPCR.
I heard she's pretty good. That's the rumor.
She's okay.
Well, the girls hockey team wrapped up its regular season with a visit from section rival Mounds View Irondale on Saturday. Going into the game, the seeds were relatively locked in, with CPCR sitting in 3rd and MVI in 8th. But the game was a lot closer than you might think based on that, showing how tight this section really is. CPCR controlled the first period, but their only goal comes shorthanded. Lily McKenzie able to slide it across to Sydney Bernovic while getting dragged down. Bernovic able to tuck it home. 1-0 home team after 1. CPCR killed off 3 penalties in the first, but the power play pays off for MVI in the second. Anna Kepke alone out in front, able to beat Wastrel, and we're tied at 1. Just too many penalties for CPCR, especially in the second period. Mounds View gets another power play tally. This time Nadia Buck on the rush. Great shot to the far side upper corner. They take a 2-run lead. But it's very brief. Off the ensuing faceoff, Bernovic gets around the corner. She's going high on the short side for her second of the game. Just 8 seconds between the 2 goals, and we're tied at 2 after 2. We're going to move to the middle of the third. CPCR on the power play, and June Semling able to walk right into the slot. She fires to the net, and the home team has the lead at 3-2. But Unfortunately, that celebration was short-lived as well. MVI evens it up just 15 seconds later. Paige Friedman finds Kepke in the slot. Her second of the game. We're tied at 3, and this game is heading to OT. Extra period didn't last long, though. Less than 15 seconds in, Semling walked at the top of the slot again, firing it home. 32nd goal of the year, and its overtime game-winning goal. 4-3 was the final.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Really a lot of fun.
It would have been nice to see them dominate a lesser opponent, something that they have not been able to do this season as well as they might hope. But unfortunately, our last chance to see CPCR in action being outbid across the board throughout the playoffs. But it was a fun one to finish on, for sure. And because they did not have that convincing victory, their argument fell on deaf ears when trying to push up to the number 2 spot. But I think number 3, getting Osseo Park Center, I think, is maybe a better matchup for CPCR. 2 very close games against Rogers that a bounce here or there could go the other way. And who knows? Rogers could get the better of Maple Grove for the same reason.
They could.
And a semifinal matchup against Maple Grove would be nice to see them get to knock off the Crimson in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Rogers is the 4 seed, North Wright County the 5. Moundsview Iredale will go against Centennial Spring Lake Park, which is undoubtedly the number 1 seed.
For sure.
That
No question.
No question. Well, the wrestling team finished last week with a flurry of activity, a tri-meet on Friday and a duels tournament on Saturday. On Friday, they headed to Maple Grove to go toe-to-toe with conference rival the Crimson, but first they took on Wayzata. The Trojans are in the lean and mean, and they flexed their muscle in a dominant performance against the Cardinals. Trojans have 2 top 10 guys at the top of their lineup, and that helped them grab a big lead early. Cardinals' only wins in the duel came from their 2 ranked guys. Jack Bridenstine, currently 5th at 133, controls his man on his way to attacking the fall. Both Good Rapids wins come with bonus points. Hayden Skillings, also ranked 5th. He's at the heavyweight spot, though, as you might imagine. Great hip toss to take his man straight to his back. He gets a pin. The Cardinals fall 58-11. Results weren't a lot better against Maple Grove. Alex Zhang gets him a good start. Super quick move. The Rapids guy into the cradle. Take it straight to his back. Cardinals start with a 6-0 lead thanks to the pin. Crimson had a couple of open weights that helped the final score look a little better than it really is. Cardinals only able to win 3 matches on the mat. Nixon Glenn getting an opportunity at the varsity level. Takes advantage. He gets a pin at 127. Gilbert Kostic had a decision at 145, but that was it. Cardinals fall 40-27.
Yeah, a couple of tough matches for the Grapplers for sure.
And as I mentioned, they were back on the mat on Saturday at the Blaine Duels. Started with a 48-27 win against Rosemont, but then a 39-29 loss to Foley, and finished with a 46-28 loss at the hands of section rival Forest Lake. Alex Zhang, Jack Bridenstine, and Hayden Skillings, all 3-0 on the day. Zhang and Bridenstine, all pins. Skillings, 2 pins and a major decision. Tristan Hargraves was 2-1 at 145 with a pair of pins. They've only got a couple of matches left. They're at Osseo on Thursday, and then we'll host Centennial on Friday. I think they may have one more week, or it's the section meet right after that.
Yeah, I think it's I'm not sure. I didn't see their schedule, but I know it's right towards the end, obviously.
Gymnastics team, we've talked about not a very deep squad, and unfortunately without one of their leaders, Callie Barker, who is their top finisher in most events, most nights, not there against Osseo. Angel Marshall had a great match in her absence, putting up very solid scores across the board. You see she was their top finisher in every event, including 4th place in the all-around, just a hair under 30. Nora Ross also chipping in, a couple other girls trying to pick up the slack. But there you see a 97.9. Add to that Callie, who normally has high 20s to low 30s. Obviously, you'd take some of the team points
from
the lower scores, but they'd at least have been close to that 120 if they can be healthy. They only have one duel left, though. They are at Anoka on Thursday, and then the section meet is next Friday on Valentine's Day.
Well, the swimming and diving team had its final home dual season last week. Elk River came to town on Thursday. It was senior nights and parents' night. Coach Hallie Scholl let the boys pick their own events, so the lineup looked a little different than usual. But you could see the Coon Rapids Totino Grace guys were competing hard, and more importantly, they were having fun. They're also a really good team, and they took control on the scoreboard early. But the Cardinals still had some outstanding performances. 200 IM medley. It's Ben Wendling setting the pace, getting the win in a time of 2:22.8. And then Grant LaMontagne and Michael Courier finished third and fourth. Cardinals' only other win comes in the 100 butterfly, and it was a dominant performance from Jackson Ling. He pulls away from everyone and finishes alone in a time of 57.32. But Elk River just too strong and too deep. Coon Rapids Totino Grace going to lose that one by a score of 97-79. But it was fun. We got to have Coach Scholl sit in with us during the diving portion, so that was good.
Yeah, and it was, you could see the atmosphere always in the pool is very positive, a lot of positive energy. She had great things to say, especially about their divers. They have a first-year diver already competing at the varsity level, which is great to see. So a work in progress has been since she took over last year, and even before then, with the numbers really struggling ever since COVID. But positive things on the horizon and a very solid work effort from that squad. They have the tri-meet coming up on Thursday this week for the final 3 spots in the conference, and then their section meet is not until the 27th. Through the 1st of March. So the taper begins after the tri-meet this week. Section tournament for Nordic skiing is happening Wednesday, I believe, this week over at the Theodore Wirth golf course. Jerry Grant caught up with the Nordic ski teams last week at the conference meet to get their take on this bizarre season. And so we turn to Jerry's Corner.
Thanks, Joe. I had a chance to catch up with both teams last week at the Northwest Suburban Conference meet, and they had a good finish that day. There were a couple of athletes, and the boys and the girls, that both finished in the top 10, so that was good for them to see. And I talked a little bit about how the season went with the snow problems they've had, and also how things look heading into the section meet, and they seem very positive about what is to happen. Here's what they said.
The Coon Rapids boys and girls Nordic ski teams are feeling good about how this season has gone so far and are now in the stretch run, hoping all their hard work pays off in the section meet this week.
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun. Me and my other captain, Lachlan, we've been skiing together all year, and we have since 8th grade, so it's fun to wrap it up with him, and we have some great girls on the team too, so it's a lot of fun.
I think it's doing pretty well, me personally, and I know a lot of the girls have improved a lot, and I'm really proud of everyone on the team. Our places have been pretty good, compared to last year, and just as a team, even like outside of fitness, I think we've really grown together more.
This individual and team growth has happened even with the lack of snow the past 2 years, adding an added challenge for the athletes and the coaches.
I think a tough season in terms of like being on snow consistently. It was better than last year. Overall, they're great at being flexible with our schedule changes, and I think that is also reflected in their ability to race in the changing conditions as well, and with their different techniques and strengths and stuff.
I think last year it was definitely weirder. We've kind of gotten used to it. We used to always ski at Bunker, but now we have to go to Elm Creek or Highland here where we are today. You just kind of have to make it work. I mean, everybody else is in the same boat, so that's nice. You know that your competition isn't getting a huge step forward, but yeah, just kind of have to take it with stride.
Last year was really bad. I think we kind of just look back at last year and we say, well, at least it's not that again. We might not have a normal ski season again, but we have each other, and at the end of the day, if there's man-made snow, we're going to ski on it.
The teams have the support of each other and are ready to ski in the section meet this Wednesday. Their performance at the Northwest Suburban Conference Championships last Monday was a tune-up, and recent results show they are ready to go.
I think we're going to try and see how many we can get into state. I think we should have at least a couple. So I think we haven't quite started our taper yet. So hopefully we're peaking just at the right time.
I think the rest of the year we're looking good. Everybody really showed up today, and they were looking really fast, looking strong. We had a race the other day, and people looked great there too. So I think people are finally starting to get to see the results of their hard work.
We're definitely gonna hammer it home, but it won't be too strenuous. Just get ready and prep for sections next week. I think a few people will make it to state, and we'll cheer for them when they go.
We will definitely cheer for them when they go. But Jerry, we talked about the results last week on the show, fresh off the presses. Some legitimate state hopefuls.
Well, when you look at Lachlan Demmer, he's the guy you have to look for because he's been finishing high in a lot of his meets. He took second place at the Northwest Suburban Conference Championships. He looked real strong, and he seems to be peaking at the right time. Albie Ludwig, he looked good. He came in at 19th, so that wasn't too bad in the pursuit. And on the girls' side, Bethany Law, just a 9th grader, she was in 5th place overall. And then also Ruby Demmer was in 11th. So those 4 kids look like they could come out and do some real serious skiing coming up tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Joe.
well, I was going to say, Albie and Lachlan were a sprint duo last year and made it to state. But they're both seniors. We'll see what they're able to accomplish their last time around. Then you look on the flip side, you mentioned Bethany, just a freshman, Ruby, just a sophomore. So to have those two leading the way is good things for this program.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, great job as always. I love having Jerry's Corner on the show. You could see the fun that they were all having, and they're just out there skiing and enjoying the weather. And I got to ask you, Jerry, did they strap the longboards on you? Did you get on the course?
No, I did not, thank goodness, because I had a hard time just walking around because it was real icy. And I looked at Neil and I said, are we going to fall down? He said, watch yourself, because it was really slick.
Well, and we were talking about during the piece, since that time, just 8 days, we've seen a couple of days into the mid to high 40s, maybe touching 50, and then a return to frigid temperatures and a little bit of snow the other night.
Now, good thing they do have the human-made snow so they can actually do these meets. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get them in.
No, for sure.
And they will have plenty of snow at Theodore Wirth on Wednesday. That's where the section meet takes place, and they're trying to get to Giants Ridge next week for the state tournament.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. Thanks.
Turning to the Alpine team, they had their 5th and final conference race last week. Boys finished in 10th place overall. Logan Stroman leading the way. Luke Stevens just a couple of spots behind him in 64th. Ben Simon finished in 66th. With Augustin in 69th and Bear in 74th. Girls side, they finished in 9th place overall, despite only having 4 finishers. Drummy finished in 53rd. The Greenwald sisters were 60th and 69th. And Bridenstine finished in 72nd place. For the Alpine team, they have their section tournament actually happening tonight on Tuesday night, the 4th. So hoping things are going well for them. Should they make it, state tournament is up in Bowabic at Giants Ridge next week. Boys basketball team started its week at home welcoming conference rival Spring Lake Park last week, of course. Panthers had lost 4 of their previous 5, but they were still above 500 and looking to get back on track. The Cardinals knew it would be tough, but they also knew it was a great chance to get back-to-back wins for the first time this season. Things started out well for the home team. The Cardinals defense helps them set the tone early. Jackson Young throwing it down with authority. It's the start of another career night for their senior captain. More than midway through the first now, Cardinals pushing their lead as high as a dozen. Jeremy Oddie knocks down an open look from the top of the key. All 5 of his points came in the first half. It looked like the Cardinals might pull further away, but the Panthers claw back late in the half. Sawyer Thompson hit a couple of late 3-pointers. Still, Cardinals up 34-24 at the break. Panthers leading scorer Nolan Myron had just 2 points in the first half. They get him going with an easy basket early in the second. He finished with 14. Still, Cardinals able to build their lead again. Great recovery by LeClaire. Leads to the strong drive by Tate McClellan Tate. TPT had 13 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. And as I mentioned, another huge game for Jackson Young. TBT finds him on the left side. He hits one of his 6 3-pointers, a career best, 37 points. The lead was as high as 15, but it wasn't enough. Panthers rattled off a couple long runs at 3 from Thompson. Gave SLP a lead, part of a 21-4 spurt. They added another 8-0 run late in the game to put a cap on their comeback. Cardinals drop a bit of a heartbreaker, 66-63, the final in that one.
Well, yeah, you know, an even tougher task awaited the Cardinals when they returned home on Thursday. The Anoka Tornadoes came in ranked 9th in the state and sitting atop the Section 4A standings. They beat the Cardinals by 25 the first time around, so it'll be a serious challenge, no question. The Cardinals had a tough time finding any rhythm on offense. Senior captain Jackson Young carried most of the load, especially early on. Anoka took the lead early and really never looked back. It started with defense, Peyton Padani jumping the passing lane and going in the other end on a breakaway. Tornadoes led by as much as dozens. You're going to see him finish this basket off here. But they too are off their normal pace, and the Cardinals still in it at the half. Young's going to pull up. He's going to hit a 3 at the buzzer. They're going to go into the locker room down 27-20. More big defense in the second. Afia Bickway flies into deny John Pinskin. Anoka immediately heads the other way. Padani will take this one himself. He was one of 4 tornadoes in double digits. Defense is going to turn to offense, going the other way. Jeremy Oddie breaks up the pass. Tegan Plum and Tate will go coast to coast for the basket. Cardinals able to cut in the lead a couple of times. But Anoka always had an answer. Kamari Hibbler leading in transition, gives it up to Dre Ellis for the 3. It's short, gets Oddie the rebound, but Hibbler immediately picks his pocket and goes straight to the back of the rim. Anoka able to blow it open at the end. And they're going to finish with a 77-60 win.
Yeah, pretty impressive basketball team for Coach Jesse Jefferson. Their 15th win of the season, and they have it all.
They do.
They have size, they have physicality, strong shooting, and even when their leading scorer wasn't on, they had other guys, the depth of the team, to pull them along and continually build that lead. Every time the Cardinals cut back to within 6 or 7 points, Anoka would go on another run and just get back to double digits.
Well, I mean, Coach Jefferson said, we go 10 deep every game for the most part, and they really did. I mean, they put a lot of players in, and they are a really good team. They have 16 wins on the season for a reason. They
are at Armstrong on Wednesday and host Sartell on Saturday, and I forgot a game. That's on me. That's the whole camera switch, because the Andover game was between Spring Lake Park and the Anoka game, and
it threw me off.
That one didn't go well for the Cardinals. They lost 77-64. Taking Plum and Tate, 29 points, 12 boards. Speaking of when your star is having an off night, Jackson Young's smallest output of the season at 8 points, 5 rebounds. But they are now 5 and 13. So I do apologize for that. That's all on me. It's all on me.
It's okay. It happens. It happens. Hey.
Busy week for
You're still
for
the best
girls,
in the business. I don't care what anybody says.
Team. Since we last sat on this desk, they've played 4 games, starting with the team from Spring Lake Park on Tuesday last week. Beat the Cardinals 66-55. Aaliyah Graham and Jekiah Palmer, as well as Rochelle Cooper, all a dozen points each. Callie McGrain, 9, and Chloe Porish added 6. They also played Andover and unfortunately lost that one by a 74-53 score. Look at the numbers for Rochelle Cooper, though. 22 points, 6 steals. Aaliyah Graham had 13 and 4 rebounds. Jekiah Palmer with 9, Chloe Porish with 5, and Callie McGrain with 4.6 boards. Then on Saturday, a win for the Cardinals. 59-53 over the Blake Bears. Jekiah Palmer leading the way that time. 14 points, 3 steals. Callie McGrain had a dozen and 5 assists. Aaliyah Graham had a dozen and 9 rebounds. And she butcher her name, so I'm just going to say Horton had 10 points.
Shania.
Is it Shania?
It is Shania.
Okay. 10 points, 13 rebounds, a double-double, and then 9 points and 5 steals for Rochelle Cooper. A little more depth scoring is always good, especially for this team. And again, not a single minute of varsity time played by a senior this year.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a building process. Obviously, 5 wins on the season. It's disappointing for them, obviously, but they're a young team for sure.
I think, though, at the beginning of the season, if you said you had 5 wins, are we getting better? I don't think they had thoughts they would be 15-5.
Absolutely not. No.
They knew this was going to be tough because, again, not a senior on the roster. Well, they have a senior on the roster, but she's been on injured reserve all year. Well, the Cardinals open play this week with a trip to take on conference-leading Anoka. Tornadoes came in on a 9-game win streak, and they were a perfect 12-0 against Northwest Suburban teams. The Cardinals hung with them for a while, but the Tornadoes were just too strong and blew past them in a big win. Early on, Cardinals able to trade baskets with the mighty Tornadoes. Jekiah Palmer's 3 even gave them a brief lead in the opening minute. But the Tornadoes stormed back. Drew Peterson crashing right down the lane to get a couple in transition. To put up 8 unanswered. They were threatening to run away, but the Cardinals respond. Callie DeGrain finds room on that right wing. She hits a 3 that sparks the CR offense. Is it that spot? I don't know. Maybe it is. Let's try it again. Just a couple minutes later, she goes to that same spot, and she's tickling the twine again. She had a team high 17. That got the game back to a 1-point contest. Then the Tornadoes really brought the pressure and showed their power. Peterson on a breakaway this time. 14 unanswered for Anoka at that point. They continue to stretch the lead late in the first. Angel Chibachi hits a big 3 from the right side. That pushed the lead to 26. It wasn't getting any better in the second half. Good feed to get Deborah Ayeni behind the defense for the basket. Tornadoes breeze past the Cardinals. A 79-50 win.
Yeah, Anoka's pretty good. Obviously,
Yeah.
they have a good club, and so it was going to be tough going in, but they did keep it. Kept it tight for a little while.
If the game were only 6 minutes, they did really well.
Hey, if you do it in spurts, 6 minutes,
yeah.
6 minute increments.
Yeah, well, and we talk about it all the time, especially when you're having struggling to find successes. Do it in smaller increments, 5 minutes, win every 5 minutes.
Right.
So there was a 5-minute spurt there where they did have the better part
did.
of the play. They will host Armstrong on Wednesday, and Howie,
We'll be there.
they are traveling to take on Cloquet on Friday. Here's what we have for you here on CTN. Girls basketball against Armstrong on Wednesday live at 7 o'clock. Gymnastics at Anoka live at 6:30 on Thursday. And then we see the boys basketball team next Thursday against the Blaine Bengals. But that is going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN for the entire crew, including Jerry Grant and my partner, Howard Shapiro. I'm Joe Young. Have a good night.